The CEO of JP Morgan Chase was in Sioux Falls today to officially open the first branch in South Dakota. We sat down with Jamie Dimon to talk about the Sioux Falls market, housing, the return to work, and what it means to be a CEO in 2021. Well, welcome to Sioux Falls. I don't know as CEO how many ribbon cuttings you get to. I suspect not many, but why this one? Why now?
Well, we've been opening branches across the United States. We're now in 48 states. This is the 48th, but we saved the best for last, and we love doing it. We're expanding across the whole country, in fact, around the world, and that's why we come here. We always get to enjoy our people, meet your local mayor. I think it's terrific. Shake hands with our own employees, thank them, and help get the branch going.
I mean, better late than never, right? But 48, come on, took a little while.
Yes, because the government didn't want us to for a long time, and I thought they made a bad decision for the United States, not for JP Morgan Chase, because when we come to town, we spend money building the branch, we spend money outfitting the branch, we hire a bunch of people, we have local vendors, we bring in capital, small business lending, Chase Wealth Management, we bring in mortgages, we help middle market companies, and we get philanthropic. We want to be in this community like any other person here that you say that we trust them, we respect them. It's great to have them as part of this community.
This is part of your annual road tour, so you've been making other stops. What are the themes that have emerged? What are you hearing as you travel around the country?
Pretty much we hear about it. I mean, are we going to grow? I think we're growing. I think we're coming out of this pandemic. I think consumers in great shape. And people are a little worried still about out there, but we don't think that's going to derail the United States economy.
Well, I'll tell you, we are growing in Sioux Falls enormously, unprecedented, a huge number of relocations in particular. Do you feel like this urban to suburban migration is going to continue? Is this a broader movement, or is this a moment in time?
I think it's probably a small, broader movement because you can do more things remotely. So you can do it as a company, you can build different things, and a lot of these places are very hospitable to business. And that's really important. You know, some places are making themselves less hospitable to business, like San Francisco. So yeah, I think you'll see a little bit go on over time.
So along those lines then, if people can essentially live wherever, what do you believe a community needs to do to be that place of choice, whether it's for an individual or for a business?
It's pretty basic. Education for kids, because most people want to move here. They want to know, can I get my kids into a decent school? A pro-business environment. Business has got to be a healthy part of the community. So I'm not asking to give giveaways to business, but a pro-business environment. That could be taxes. That could be working with a local community college about the kind of jobs you need, whether it's cyber or coding or something like that. It's the arts. It's the friendliness. It's activities people can do like swimming and fishing and take a trip to the Badlands or something like that. So.
I know it's been a while since you've been in South Dakota, but how familiar are you from a business standpoint with this area, and what kind of potential do you see here?
I think it's got great potential. I mean, it's doing very well now. So think of, you just went through COVID. There are parts of our country have been through the same thing and not doing particularly well. They're coming out much slower. So I think that kind of thing is still there. It's also a beautiful place. I've been to the Badlands. I've been to Mount Rushmore. I've hiked around. So I think it's just a beautiful part of our country.
I'm curious for your thoughts on housing right along with that growth. We have about a 2-month supply of homes on the market in Sioux Falls. We have unprecedented 99% multifamily occupancy. Where do you see housing going? Can this sustain itself, or what is next in housing?
We've known for years that we're not building enough homes. And that's been true for a long time. It's not, and that was not supply lines. Is that because we made mortgages too expensive due to regulations? We can reduce that, which we simply have not done. And then I think local folks have to allow more building. Very often they can't build because of zoning laws, and the ability to buy land and how long it takes to get things done. And I don't know the local laws here, but I think that's an important one. But American entrepreneurs, they're really powerful and innovative. It'll come back. They're going to start building homes, and I've just read stories about people building modular homes you can put together in sites, and there'll be a lot of things that'll be pretty neat.
They're exploring a little bit of that here too, I think. We are at about 2.9% unemployment in this area. We have high labor force participation, and we still are just struggling to hire everywhere, which I know is a national theme, but do you feel like there's something bigger going on here post-pandemic when it comes to this labor market?
First of all, it's a great thing. I mean, I remember being in a recession, people talked about they won't hire people. Now we have the other problem. Jobs are plentiful, that's good. Wages are going up, particularly for lower pay, that's not so bad. And it's a labor shortage. I think there are like 4 reasons. So people are always looking for a simple answer. I think of the people still out of the workforce, maybe 7 million people, something like 1 or 2 are because they retired. Well, that's fine, that takes place. We think it accelerated that. There's probably 2 million who are waiting for school. They have kids at home, they've got people at home, they don't have care, so they're gonna wait till September. There's probably 2 million or something like that because of wages are lower than benefits they're getting today. And I'm not accusing them of anything, I'm simply saying They know if you're sitting at home with making $20 an hour and you have to go to a restaurant or a hotel at 12, you might say, I'm going to wait, because that job will always be available. It isn't like they're going to lose a good job. And it seems like there's another 2 million something where it's churn. They've moved out where they were, they're not going back, they're happy in Sioux Falls. They'll eventually start looking for a job around here, but they haven't even started yet. So it's a whole bunch of different reasons. But again, this is the most dynamic, prosperous economy the world's ever seen. It will find a way to grow again.
Thank you. That's great perspective. Along the lines of work, the great return to work. Sioux Falls employers are trying to figure that out like everyone else. Where does Chase come down as far as coming into the office, working from home, some mix of the two?
Yeah, we don't have to decide right away. I think people are trying to give an answer. We don't really know. But here's what we've asked. We asked our people, 100% of our people, to come in 50% of the time. And that's mandatory. And we want people to come back in. It's safe. If you are vaccinated, you don't have to mask or socially distance. If you're unvaccinated, you're going to mask and get tested. And let's protect them, not just the vaccinated. It protects both parties, but they're back at work. And there'll be more hybrid over time. We'll be testing that, how it works, stuff like that. It's got to work for the client. Like this branch has to be staffed. So you can't have any conversation about working from home because it's got to be staffed. There are other jobs that maybe you can partially work from home, and we'll figure it out. And so it's not an immediate concern of ours. The Zoom world does not work as well for apprenticeships, for teaching, for creative combustion, for management, for idea generation, for learning a lot. It just doesn't. So people have to put a little bit of, be careful about making too many quick conclusions about it. Obviously, you can probably do certain things we used to travel to by Zoom, and obviously you can sit at home on a Friday and handle a bunch by Zoom, but people shouldn't assume it is as good as they think.
And finally, I just want to talk a bit about the role of the CEO, which is evolving continually as well, but has certainly in the last year. All of a sudden, you've got the CEO having to weigh in on everything from public health policy to election law to social justice. How do you feel that role has changed, and what is most necessary to be an effective leader at this moment in time?
Well, first of all, I think business and government have to collaborate to succeed with civic society, so local churches and local community colleges and stuff like that. It will not work if we're at each other's throats. That's number one. Number two, we weigh in a lot on public policy. I think the reason America's grown so slowly the last 20 years, and it has, just look at the facts, and that slow growth has hurt the lower paid people more than anyone and minorities more than anyone. I think it's because of healthcare, education, regulation, taxation, immigration, litigation. If we fix those things, I think we've grown a lot more. So I think we should weigh in. So for example, on education, working with community colleges to get those kids through college, but with a job that pays $60,000 a year, called coding or data science or something like that. It's not just about getting a degree that you don't have a job with. And then healthcare, we have some of the best in the world, doctors, pharmacists, physicians, surgeons, hospitals, medical devices. We also spend 18% of GDP. The rest of the world's at 9%. Our outcomes aren't that much better. In fact, they're worse. We have more infant mortality, we have more obesity, people dying younger, we have drug problems, we got people don't know the cost of medicine, there's a lack of transparency, you don't own your own data, and we should fix these problems. And America will be healthier for it, and health, by the way, is a very important part of productivity and happiness. So to me, that's a very important thing. It's not just the money, it's your career and your life and your happiness and or your sadness. So we have to get cracking at those things. And I think those things are the long-term things for the health of America. It's not whether the economy, what it does in the short run, is that we get good policy to continue to grow healthy.
And the trust factor, I think, is huge. I mean, we've seen people don't trust government, they don't trust media, they don't trust big business. What do we have to do to build trust?
I trust you. I can
Likewise,
tell by talking
right?
to you,
Yes.
but you earn it every day. And you look at what people actually do and how they do and stuff like that. Too many people, blanket everyone the same, but media is not trustworthy. Well, that's prejudice. Some are quite trustworthy, some aren't. Make a distinction. It takes a little courage to make a distinction.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Anything else you'd like to add before I let you go?
You were great.
Just like to invite you back. We'd love to do that.
Great.
Have a further conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.